Will, I am so stoked for you to be here today. How the heck are you doing, man?
Doing good, doing good. Appreciate it. We've been talking a long time. It's good to finally meet up with you and talk a little bit. So yeah, it's been
Yeah,
a busy year to say the least, but it's been great. It's been a extraordinary journey so far, and we got a lot of cool things in the works. So yeah, it's exciting.
it is, man. Well, I'm going to dive in. There's a lot of different questions I got for you. But I guess let's kind of just start a little bit, kind of giving people a little bit of one-on-one on your background. Let's talk about where you're from, how you got involved in, hunting, fishing, the outdoor lifestyle. Maybe, who were some of your mentors? Is this something that you grew up with your family? And just kind of give us a little sneak peek into that. And then we'll kind of walk through to all the amazing things you got kicking these days.
Yeah, yeah. So I was born and raised in Western Montana, small town, Phillipsburg, Montana. I graduated with 14 kids. There wasn't a whole lot to do but fish and hunt and play sports, chase girls. That's all you did, and so I grew up with the love of the outdoors, um, and my uncle Elmo actually is the one that initially got me into hunting and got me interested in everything in the outdoor space, and he's since passed. So it's kind of a cool legacy to carry on for him, and um, the outdoors and hunting has helped me in so many ways throughout the years. It's incredible, but yeah, we just grew up working hard. My family was in the lumber industry and sawmilling industry, so we learned a lot about business along the way. Picked up things we didn't know we picked up, and after high school, joined the military, spent some time overseas in Iraq, and came back and started business. Wanted to hit the ground running when I got back from overseas, and started my first business and moved forward from there, and did well in some business and did poor, made some mistakes and lost my butt, and that's all part of growing and learning, and got into real estate, and real estate crashed, and lost everything again, had to start over again, in 2009, 2010. And I was young, I was in my 20s, and I learned a lot about overextending and overextending your credit, and just a lot about the financial world, which is really good. It's the best thing that ever happened to me, honestly. So I had to start over again. And then a good friend of mine introduced me to the president over at what then was Critical Power Exchange, just an equipment brokerage company.
Mhm.
Um, and I worked there for over 7 years, where I really went entry level and moved my way up through the company. Loved the industry, the equipment, the people. I gained some unbelievably good mentors within the industry, and just business sense itself. Glenn Hansen and Mark McEllier and Eddie Becciarelli and different people that really just gave me a lot of things along the way, just a wealth of knowledge, that really helped me and that stick with me all the time, and so from there, I was asked to get into higher management to help run the company, and really it was a company owned by a group that really didn't have interest in investing in the business, where it needed to go. So I it really was, I was either going to go start my own business at that point, or buy the assets of their company. And it was losing $1.5 million a year at that point. It was a mess, and for a lot of different reasons. There was high turnover. There wasn't investment into inventory. There was mismanagement. There was a lot of different things, that happens in a lot of businesses. But ultimately, they agreed to sell me the assets of the company. Um, and when they did that, like I said, we were losing our butts, and my team had the faith in me to stick it out. The ownership had quit paying the lease at our headquarters. We got a 3-day vacate notice before I even finished the purchase. So we were scrambling. We either had to shut the doors or find a place to work until we could find a permanent home. So um, within a day, we found what had used to be like an old church, and it had been many different things, but it was almost right across the street from our building. It had no Cat 5 going into it. It had really nothing that we needed to operate because we were online sales and project management. So we moved into there within 72 hours. The whole team rallied up and we moved over there, worked off hotspot for several months and wireless internet, which was a terror in itself. But eventually got up and running. I got the purchase completed, and then my good friend Ryan Beckenhauer, he worked with me to get a new headquarters over in Post Falls. So we started designing and putting together a just awesome new headquarters, and the following February, exactly 1 year after the purchase closed, we moved over to Idaho, and Idaho really wanted to move some of our industry into the state. So there were some great folks over there that helped us out and gave us a lot of incentives to move over to Idaho. So ever since then, we've just been terrorizing the town, man. We've been growing like crazy and blessed with the most amazing employees you could ever ask for, which is the only reason I get to do it. I love to do and I'm passionate about now, So our average tenure there is over 9 years, and we just have so much trust and love in that company, and everybody helps everybody out, and it's something I've never witnessed before, and so grateful for it. So that's been a heck of a journey, and along the way got married to a wonderful woman and had two small children. My little man is 5 now, and my little girl Ava is 7. And things were going in 2 different directions. So that ended up in a divorce, which was so difficult in itself, having kids, but turned out to be really good, I think, for both of us and for the kids. I spend way more time with them now, went through that, and now my new gal and I have another baby girl coming in May, and the kids are super excited. So yeah, it's been a whirlwind to say the least.
Well, and that's not even, we haven't even brought in what kind of first connected us was with all the different things that you got going on centered around the hunting and the outdoor lifestyle. You talk about bringing teams together that work amazing in all sorts of facets of your work life, but now you're doing this and, your passion project, which I can only assume will be becoming more of a work project as this builds. But you've been traveling all across the world, hunting, bringing people, maybe people with special needs or needing to have those experiences, life-changing events, working with veterans. You're working with all sorts of different people, teaming up with some amazing folks in the outdoor world to provide these experiences that are just so enriching. So I want to know, when did that begin to happen in that pivot? And I mean, you showed me the highlight reel of some of the hunts that you have, been on. You're filming some of the behind the scenes of what you got going on, and it's incredible. And I know that is, in a soon to be release thing. So I just kind of want to give people an idea of where you kind of got involved in this, and where this is going. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about other side ventures, and just kind of, if you can bring it into that avenue, and then we'll kind of dive deep and into some things you got kicking this next year.
Yeah. So the outdoors, like I said, it's always been in my blood. It's always been my safe place. And when I got back from overseas, and many of the guys that I served with, really, that getting back into the outdoors and just getting in the mountains and the peace and the tranquility of the outdoors is really what made me feel good again, and whole again. And a good friend of mine, Daniel, he and he actually started it, and I co-founded Wilderness for Warriors, and that was an organization that he poured his whole life into, every bit of it. And it took me 2 seconds to know that I wanted to be part of it, and it was helping so many people get back into something that they love, and take all the negativity and whether it's PTSD, whether it's physical ailment, loss of limbs, whatever it was from overseas, there was something that happened when we got into the outdoors and into the mountains, and started sharing stories and adventures and things like that that just brought people to a better place, and that was, a decade ago, and ever since then, it's just been a big part of my heart and who I am, and have just wanted to give back as much as possible, and about a year and a half ago, um, I've throughout the years I've suffered with my own depression, PTSD, um, all the way down to suicidal thoughts and weird stuff that you can never explain until you're in the middle of it. And um, you know, and it made me feel even worse because I was so blessed in life with such good people around me, whether it's family, employees, beautiful children. Um, everything from the outside looking in, you've got everything in life, and people don't understand it, but um I went through such a dark time where I didn't even want to be here anymore, and some things transpired, and when I came out the other side of that, um I was so grateful for the few people I had in my life that were constants. They were constantly beating my door down, just making sure I was okay, and trying to get me out and things like that. A lot of people in your life are afraid to dive in when you're going through something that's really dark and really bad. People kind of take the distance, and kind of want to stay away from it, which is fine. But the few people that were constantly by my side, and they drug me through it, and got me through it, are instrumental in even being able to get through to the other side of it. But when that happened, um, I knew that I was still here for a reason, and that reason's to help other people get through hard times. And it doesn't have to be, PTSD from war or from anything like that. It can be anybody going through a hard time or just needing to pick me up. Or,
Sure.
we've taken some incredible children on hunts that have been abused in the past. That this amazing little girl Ella we took. On an elk hunt this year, and her and her family have dwarfism, and she's just this sweetest, cutest little thing in the world, but she can't really fit behind a rifle. And growing up with that, I can only imagine the kind of criticism you get in just the bad people out there that feed you crap every day,
Sure.
and she went out and got a monster bull. I mean, her confidence level was through the roof. It was so special to see, and then we took another little girl, Aspen, and she's actually our little ambassador. Her and her dad and good friend of mine now, Todd, we took them down to Texas, and she had been previously um, um, abused pretty bad. And since her father had gotten full custody of her, but she was going through a really hard time, and we took her down, and just, I mean, we were all in tears the whole trip, and we went down to try to help her and just get her in a good space and get to where she could trust guys again, and know that she has family and people that support her and love her, and it ended up changing us all. I mean, we had, my team, my camera guy, my good friends from Texas, my buddy that owns the ranch down there. It was such a special trip for all of us. I mean, we were all in tears throughout the trip, So, and then recently we took Donnie. Um, he's been in my life for several years as a contractor, and he's just one of those guys that you gravitate to, just an amazingly good guy and huge heart. And over the last year and a half, he's been fighting with cancer, and thought it was going well. And a little over a month ago, I guess now, the doctor said they couldn't do anything, and he only had about 2 months to live, which is just, for anybody, that's the worst thing you want to hear. He's got a beautiful wife, Mary, and family, and friends, and so we wanted to do something for him and his family, just as a last, let's get out there, have some fun,
Yeah.
get your mind off everything, and make some memories, and so we took him and Mary and his best friend, Randy, down to Texas. This was just a few weeks ago, and he had some bucket list items that he wanted to hunt, a black buck, an axis, an oryx, a big whitetail. And we were able to witness him, putting the smack down on all these animals. And same thing, there's tears, you're fighting back tears the whole time. Mary's crying and making us all want to cry, and like just so much emotion, and my better half Hannah filmed the whole thing, and we're gonna put a big film together for his family so that they can all witness it and watch it in the future. And it was amazing, man. And we got everything back home really quick. And my good friend Nick with Wildlife Creations, he busted everything through overnight to get everything bleached and cleaned up so the family could enjoy the horns with Donnie, and he can kind of show off his trophies, before he gets taken from us. So there's so much good that comes from bad situations, if you allow it, and um, so it's a blessing to just be a part of it, and I've lived so many selfish years, as a youngster and just a punk, like everything's about you and what you're going to accomplish and the cars you're going to have and the big houses you're going to have and all that stuff. And, to finally find your place in life and being humbled enough to want to do nothing but give everything back has been a huge blessing. And God has pointed me in a direction that I'm very, very blessed for and appreciate every day for sure. So,
Well, when you open the door for that kind of spirit to come in and help kind of direct those things, sometimes you're not in the driver's seat. You're sitting maybe in that the passenger seat, letting that kind of the next experience come, because as you do all these things and you give back, it's more people want to get involved, more people want to be able to help. I've seen those posts you've done. It's inspirational. It makes other people think, myself included, like, what can I do to give back to my community? What can I do to give back, especially to veterans, who've, and the veteran families. It's not just the veterans who go through this stuff, it's the families too. Everyone's affected. I mean, and you look at things that, terminal cancer, you look at the struggles that, young children be left without mothers and fathers. There's so many different heavy things, but when you can put that spark of light and love and just pure spirit out there, and be able to film it and have that experience, and like you said, even like the antlers and things that you're giving back to them, so you can kind of have those moments and those memories that last forever. There's so much that's enriching about that. My hat's off to you for what you're doing. And I can't wait to see it, because I know that we're just talking about a few examples from like this year, and like there are so many things that you've been doing throughout the years and the things you have
yeah.
planned. Why don't you talk to me about kind of the idea of what you want to have as far as, your this idea of like a show, as an experience of a movement of having these types of experiences, giving back. How do you foresee this moving forward? And I know like a lot of vehicles like this, once they kind of gain traction, you never know where they can go. So I don't expect, I know there might be not absolutes, but what is it that you're wanting to do and kind of moving this forward from today here on?
So, so really when I decided to, build the main platform, which we don't even have a name for yet,
Mhm.
because it's something that, um, it's really special to me and Hannah and the other people that are involved in it. And it's going to be more than just a hunting show.
Right.
We're not just sitting in the Midwest hunting whitetails, even though I love it. You can see it. Whitetails are my
There's a
absolute
couple.
addiction.
There's a few there.
Yeah, they're my absolute addiction. But um, we want to bring more adventure to it, and we want to bring more of the giving back aspect to it. So if we go to Africa, if we go to Spain, if we go to the Yukon, wherever we go, we want to give back. We want to help. We want to educate people on local conservation efforts and why we hunt the animals that we're hunting, and why it's so important to their species and others in the region. So there's going to be a lot more to it than just hunting.
Right.
And we're going to we've got a lot of surprises. We're gonna release on main network TV, as well as YouTube, and we're going to work with some of the best in the business. We've got some incredible names in the industry that are partnering with myself to be on the show, and they've got the same hearts. They like to give back. They like to get youth into the outdoors and hunting, things like that. That is so meaningful, and we're not releasing any of it yet, but
Yep.
it's getting close, and we want feedback on a name. It's something that we're going to do giveaways surrounded around, giving input for the platform name, just because it's got to be special, and it's got to be something that comes from inspiration, and so it sounds silly because we've been working on it for over a year, and we've thrown around 1,000 different names, but it just hasn't hit us all yet. So really that main platform is to build an audience, and building that audience to be able to help people and really inspire other people to give back a little bit, and then just put a helping hand out, and the Other Side Ventures is my platform that I started a while back, and that's really where I take the kids out, and veterans and disabled veterans, and different folks that just need help. And I don't have an official nonprofit. I've never taken any donations, anything like that. I just do it as I can, which can be pretty taxing in itself. So we're going to build this main platform to be able to support that a little bit, and then we'll just collaborate with the Other Side Ventures, and we'll have awesome hunts and episodes with our veterans, with our youth, with things like that. And I think it's going to be a lot more inspirational, and it has absolutely changed my life, and made me into a complete different person. I didn't like who I was in the past, and for a lot of different reasons, and held a lot of guilt and a lot of pain and different things like that. And this has really given me a second chance, not just to give back and help people, but it's given me a second chance with my family, with my kids, with my companies and employees, with really everything. So, being 40 years old now, and really getting a new lease on life has been absolutely incredible for me, and so blessed to have the opportunity, because I honestly didn't know how I was going to crawl out of the hole that I came from, and a lot of ups and downs and things like that. So really that's what the platform is going to be, is to create inspiration and show people that there is light at the end of the tunnel, that there is opportunity, that there is adventures out there that anybody can go on, and we want to take those people on them, and we want to help people out, and we're going to do some wild, crazy hunts along the way, and we've got some big things in store, but really there's going to be a lot more mixed into it, and hopefully inspire more to do the same. So,
that being able to show that all the stories behind the hunts is so incredible. There's so many wonderful shows out there that can teach you from A to Z, educational, going out in the woods, hunting this place, and giving you tips and tricks and things too. And I'm not knocking any of them. I think that's great to have that out there. I think having that human aspect of like what's happening, the things that you're doing to fulfill, enrichment and just experience and happiness, positivity, and helping people, cross that other side of their struggles is paramount. And it's something that I can totally see, everyone get behind that, because it's like the entertainment thing, but it like fills your heart and makes you feel good being a part of that network. And, when you build things like that, everyone else just wants to come aboard and be a part of that too. So I can't wait to see, where this, goes to, all the links that y'all will be, going to like have all these hunts around the world and, enrich so many lives. So, kudos to you for all that you've done and all that you're doing. Can't wait to see all the things you have lined up. When we talk about going all around the world, you showed me a highlight reel of just some of your, films of some of these hunts with some of these veterans or people that kind of needed to be out there in the woods for their own enrichment. And it's all across the board. I mean, how many countries have you now gone to? You've probably done every state in the U.S. now, and then beyond.
Yeah. So we've hunted many states. This year we got to do a lot of whitetail hunting, which obviously is a huge passion of mine. And so we've done, South Carolina, Oklahoma, Idaho, Montana, Iowa, Texas, many states. I'm sure I'm missing a lot of them,
Yeah.
but we've been able to hunt the Yukon with my good buddy Logan with Midnight Sun Outfitters. He's been trying to drag me up there for years, and he finally got me up there this last year, and we ended up just having an incredible time, man. And it was so humbling, like being way back in the Yukon. You're dropped off on a float plane, and it's pretty gnarly, and it was the best experience ever. Having nothing was the best part, and being back up there and horse packing in, and we saw some absolutely unbelievable animals, and harvested some incredible critters, and but we made some lifelong friendships. And there were some struggles. There was definite cold, nasty weather. Then we were super fortunate with some great weather for several days, and so that was a super cool one. We did Kodiak Island for brown bear, and that's where I met who now is one of my best friends, Dan Welker. He's probably the only crazier hunter than myself. He hunts year round, and he's got some world records archery, and just a stud. And him and I just got back from Mexico, mule deer hunting together, and he's going to be a big part of this new platform as well. And then we spent quite a bit of time in Africa, in different places where I met Garrett Rash. He's a huge guy in the outdoors industry, and we become very good friends. And he's a part of this new platform, and have we went to Spain hunting a couple times, and met some amazing people over there, and pretty much everywhere. I feel like we've been a lot of places, but the hunts are one thing, and I don't take anything away from the hunt. They were incredible experiences, but more so the people that I've been able to surround myself with, and now like our family, and we're building this thing together.
Yep.
I feel like it all happened for a reason, and every little place we went, I was impacted by people, and I was inspired by people. And so it's been incredible this last year, just really building a network of good, like-minded people. I feel like the outdoors and the hunting industry is just, that's the one place where I can meet people and just feel like they're genuine, like they're good people, and they have, like minds and like hearts, and there's always bad apples in anywhere you go, but the outdoors, I've just met the best people, man, and it's been awesome. So we're definitely excited to do a lot more and go a lot more places. We got to take some veterans over to Africa this last trip, and it was just mayhem. There was I had two veterans, one of my employees and friends, and then Hannah and I, and we met Garrett and a couple of other good folks over there. And I think in 11 days we harvested 123 animals, which was unreal. Yeah.
Wow.
So those boys had fun, to say the least.
Yeah.
And Africa's a target-rich environment, anyways, But it was so cool to see those guys, being able to harvest kudu and Cape buffalo and all these cool animals, and they're lifelong friends now, And Bryant and Michelle they came over there with us, and he had lost his leg and almost his other leg, and several other things in Iraq getting blown up, and the guy is an absolute inspiration. He every day he gives back. He is so positive, and him and his wife both are very involved with different nonprofits and helping other veterans out and things like that. And those are the guys that we want to help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those are the guys that deserve a break and deserve to go on a trip like that, because they're giving all of themselves, so it's been pretty special for sure. So yeah, a lot more to come, that's for sure.
Oh man, I am so excited. I can't wait. We'll definitely have to have you on. Maybe do even a short little podcast for the big announcement when everything kind of is solidified as far as what's coming next, what avenues you'll be having this show on, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't wait to learn more. I think it'd be amiss of me if I did not bring up and mention the Lion on the Lambo,
Oh boy.
dude.
Yeah.
I was, I had seen it when it first happened, and I'd never put it together until later on doing some research as we're kind of getting ready for this podcast. And I was just going, I wanted to ask about this because I've never seen a mountain lion on the Lamborghini before. That was just something that was like, there we go. I can now check that off the list of the amazing things. Because being from Texas, I've seen
Lord.
some wild things. I mean, people in cars with cows in the back seat. That was another one to add to the list of, like, now you haven't seen it, now you have. Talk to me
Yeah.
about what that was like for you, what the goal was, turned into a viral sensation, and
Oh.
ultimately, would you go through with it again? So go ahead and start us at the beginning on that story, if you wouldn't mind.
So we've been lion hunting really hard, and um, yeah. So I ended up getting a great tom with some good friends of mine, and um, we we came back to town, and it was kind of the first nice day of spring, and it was
Mhm.
sunny out, and um, my buddy Rob had his hounds, and we had the cat, and we were going to bring it to my taxidermist, and we just happened to be over in my shop, and my cars were over there, and I'm like, what if we put it on the car and brought it over to Nick? Nick is he's been my taxidermist forever, and good friend, great person, and I just like razzing him. So I'm like, let's show up in the Lambo with the lion, and so it went from there to okay, we could probably make something of this, gain a little traction. Let's post something and let's give away a lion hunt and a day at the track in the car, for just somebody. And we posted this all in the narrative.
Yeah,
Just somebody who needs a pick me up,
yeah,
someone who
yeah.
needs something positive in their life. And so it went from that to just Drew took a short clip, and I had my buddy Justin Fields over here, um, and so we just made this short clip and edited it up, and we're like, okay, we'll throw it on. A couple thousand people will see it, and we'll get some good entries for this lion hunt and stuff, And so we posted it, and overnight it went insane, and it wasn't at all what we had expected or what we wanted to happen.
Right.
Um, but I mean, you put a redneck in a fast car, and you're gonna get lions on it. I guess I see it as a car.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
feel very blessed, and I just love fast cars, but it's still just a car to me. It doesn't make me who I am, or
sure.
anything other than just a car that goes down the road. So I didn't. I put the line on there and strapped it to the fender wells, and went down the road. So we didn't think of it much past that, but I wouldn't do it again. That's for sure. I think I probably had more backlash from hunters in the community than non-hunters, which I respected, and if I could have pulled it back, I would have, but there was no stopping it
Right.
once it got out there. But no, I think it was for a good cause, but it was only meant to go, a little
So
ways,
far.
and
Right.
have some good people sent our way that we could help out, and it went way further. And I think it does. It gives anti-hunters ammunition. And look at that dumbass putting a lion on his car, and blah blah blah. You're gonna get all that, which is fine, but I also think that we don't need to feed the fire as outdoorsmen. I think that they get enough ammunition to come at us. So I would definitely wouldn't do it again. But there was some good that came out of it, and
Yeah.
so I think about it that way. But it still pops up every once in a while, I'm like, please, please, please don't start going all over again, because you can't stop it. And
Yeah.
so that was quite the experience. And when it hit like national Fox News and things like that, I thought I was going to have death threats, and who knew what was going to happen. But it wasn't. It wasn't that way. You obviously get a lot of comments of people hating and things like that, but you got to take it as constructively as possible and move on. But yeah, that was something that wasn't meant to be that crazy.
Yeah. Well, it just kind of blew up in that sense, man. I mean, it's I look at like what you're talking about now in your, in these projects and this show and all the things that are going to come from this and the spotlights there. And, I am so excited to see this, like I said, see this build, see what comes from this show, and where these are going to be going, because that's something I think is what's going to be turning viral. That's the thing that's going to really continue to build every single year and snowball. Because when you get behind the stories of people, and especially the struggles that we all go through, every single one of us goes through it. And I appreciate you, by the way, sharing, part of yours, and you overcoming it, some of the things that you tuned into. I think going into working with, worked a lot of veterans who talk about nature, about fishing, about hiking, about hunting, about getting out there into those elements that really soothes them, and they bring a part of that back with them into their daily life. And I think it's so important for us, and again, I'm all about doing anything I can to get back to veterans. So if there's anything ever I can do to help you guys, if you need some maps along the way for some of the hunts, I can do that. If there's, whatever you need me to do, just kind of help to provide this platform, because these are the moments I believe that, you're going to be putting out. They're going to be going truly viral and taking it to that next level. And, that's something that I can't wait for, you to accomplish and kind of be able to share. So I also forgot to just say thank you for your service. And what branch of the military were you in? What were you doing?
So I was in the Army,
Uh-huh.
and when I went overseas, I served as a EHAT trainer, so explosive awareness trainer. So we trained troops coming into country on explosive ordnance, TTPs, what to look for, how to identify them, who to reach out to if they found a roadside bomb, car bomb, things along those lines. So we work close with the EOD teams over there. And it was really rewarding, man. It was something that our whole team felt like we were making change over there, and that's what was killing our guys. So getting as much information out there as possible before they hit the road was really important. So it was a cool mission and something we were very proud of. But it was good, and I got back from overseas and fully intended on going back over, and then ended up getting in wrecking one of my semis. I had my family get a couple semis for me and started a trucking company before I got back. And I was in one of those trucks, and someone pulled out in front of me, and I ended up rolling and breaking my back and my neck up and everything really, really bad. And so I ended up I was still in the military and ended up having to get medically discharged, which at the time was heartbreaking, that was a tough one, especially when I saw, friends and loved ones getting hurt or killed over there, and knowing I couldn't do anything, especially with the knowledge that we had. So, that was a tough one, but it was something I'll never change. It was a crazy time over there, and it makes you grow up so fast. I spent my 21st birthday in Baghdad, so it makes a man out of you quick.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I come from a family of veterans, and my cousin was over in Iraq probably around the same time you were. And just the different things, like he told me one day he said he realized the day he needed to quit cigarettes when he was behind the glass in the passenger seat of a vehicle at like 3 a.m, lit up a cigarette, and then heard, and he's like, looked up, and the bulletproof glass had caught the bullet that was about to go right through his freaking in between his eyes. And he's like,
Jeez.
I've been told not to smoke cigarettes by my mom, but now We
Yeah.
talked about, and the near misses that he had, and then the not so near misses that his friends had, and like coming back and the struggles of like trying to be a survivor
Yeah.
when your friends didn't make it, and the guilt and all that. I mean, that's one of the things I'm working on doing this next year is I want to do it about once a month where I'm doing a podcast that is by for about veteran awareness, mental health awareness, anything we can do to kind of shine the spotlight on, this 22 a day thing is just it's too much, man, and 22 too
Yeah.
many, right? Like it can't be happening, and whatever
Yeah.
I can do. So I've got a bunch of foundations and organizations that I'm working with. There's some angler Patriot anglers here in Texas that they take out a bunch of folks in the fishing realm. So I'm going to be a part of those and kind of a journalist of sorts and writing that out. But that's something that I get behind every single day that I possibly can. Anybody, just kind of be a conduit to the message, man, because that's
Yeah.
to me that I think those are the folks who that teachers, first responders, man, those are the people that I think should be taken care of the
Yeah.
most in our society. Normally,
Yeah.
it's not. They get
No,
the shaft.
that's the shitty part is it just isn't that way, and any awareness that we can raise and people seeing like lives get turned around and actually getting a second chance at life instead of just going in the bedroom and shooting themselves,
Yep.
and I was that person. I was there, and um, I can tell you it is the worst place in the world to be in when you're there. You don't think about the people you're leaving behind. Everyone
Right.
says suicide is selfish. It is selfish. And I agree. And I've got a beautiful family and amazing people in my life. But when you're in that place, there's nothing else that crosses your mind. It's a scary, scary place to be. And if I can help even a few guys from being in that place of darkness and bring them through to help them out to get them in a better place, I'm going to do it every day for the rest of my life,
How'd
and
you get out of that?
um, I hit absolute rock bottom, man. And um, I tried to kill myself, um, and I was gone for 17 minutes. And that 17 minutes was the longest 17 minutes of my life. And um, by the time the paramedics got there, I had been getting CPR for those 17 minutes, but I was gone, and they didn't think that they were going to be able to get me back. Somehow the paramedics were able to bring me back, and on the way to the hospital, my heart stopped again, and they got me going again. And then made it to the hospital, and they were able to get me going again. Um, but that was the point in my life where um, I knew what it felt like. You know what I mean? I knew what that rock bottom felt like, and it is the absolute worst place you could ever want to be. The things you do, the people you associate yourself, the terror that you subject yourself to, is it'll tear your whole life apart, and I'm lucky I didn't lose my kids, my family, my businesses, my everything, and that's where the amazing people in my life um, really came through for me and believed in me and helped me through it, all the way down to my ex-wife. She was so graceful through the whole thing, and I don't know that she believed in me, but she knew that the kids needed their dad,
Yeah.
um, she, with some tough love, she really really helped me through it, and I'll always thank her for that, because it
Mhm.
was a time where I didn't really deserve anything. I didn't feel like, and so it's definitely been a trying time, man, and it's a story I've um, never really told, but I want people to know. I want people to know that it's okay to be at rock bottom, but there is damn sure a way to get out of it. And um, I waited till it was too late, and thank God somehow, by the grace of God, got through it. And coming out the other side, I knew that I had a purpose, and I knew that God wanted me here to do something, and I am damn sure going to do it every day. So that really is my motivating factor in everything that I do every day. I think that, everybody sees the glam and the perfect life and the hunting and the cars and the all the stuff we're blessed with in life. But there's a lot of struggle that people have that others don't know about, and I think that it's important that they do, and I've never told my story, and I've always been ashamed of myself and who I allowed myself to become, and the way I treated situations and things along the way, and the way I treated certain people, and um, it's just not something anybody's going to be proud of, but that doesn't have to define who you are either. You know what I mean? Like if you use it constructively and learn from it and find purpose in life, you can come out of anything. And I only know that because I have. And I'm not one to preach to anybody, because I have been trying to preach to myself and get myself to a good place, but I do know what it's like being at rock bottom and being in the absolute darkest place you can be in life, to where you don't want to live anymore. And coming out of that was a hand of God, and I'm certainly not going to waste any moment that I have moving forward. So really, that is, in reality, the inspiration behind what I'm doing. And I don't want to see other people go through that, man. I don't. It's such a scary place to be. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. But I'm so blessed with the people in my life that support me, that I can talk to. There's very few that even know this story. But I feel like it's time that I do put it out there. And as hard as it is to talk about and put out there to anybody, let alone everybody, I think it could help people, and ultimately that's what I'm living my life for right now. So if it helps one person, to reach out and to get through and work through that shit and get out to the other side, then it's worth telling my story.
It is 100%. I mean, that sharing our testimonies and what we have, our hardships, the things that make us who we are, the human nature, and like being able to connect with other people and letting them know that it's okay that you've hit rock bottom, but there is the light. There is a ladder. There is a way to climb out of this. There's a way to move forward. There's a way to work on healing yourself. It won't happen overnight. It's not
Yeah,
something that's going to be in it, but at least you can get that sliver of hope that'll give you that next edge to get through another day, and then build upon the momentum of the last day, and be able to surround yourself by the inspirational stories of yourself and other people who have gone through it and can be able to get to that other side. So thank
yeah,
you for sharing that. Thank you for being so open and honest, and for deciding to come forth and talk and share your story. It's something that we need to come together in humankind and realize that we are all here to help each other, that we'll all
yeah,
make through together, that we need our brotherhood, our sisterhood, our families, our friends to all rally around at any point in time, so that we don't have to have any of the tragedies of that we see every day all too often, where
yeah,
somebody lost hope, lost that sliver, didn't have that next spring of the ladder to climb up. And I'm glad that you and other people are there to help provide that opportunity, because we need it in this world, and we need more positivity. And hey, man, thanks for being a beacon of it yourself. I really appreciate it.
yeah,
I do have two last questions, one of
yeah.
which is about your legacy. I've been asking everyone who's been coming on about how they want to be viewed, their legacy, maybe, personally and professionally. And I know you got a lot of Richmond that you can kind of talk about in both of those. So if you wouldn't mind just kind of giving, listeners a little bit of an idea of like how you view legacy and what you want to be remembered for.
That's a big question that I have in my mind every single day, especially as of late, over this last year. Um, like I said, I feel like I lived for myself and selfishly, and hurt a lot of people along the way, and did things I'm not proud of, and just life and relationships and things like that. And, you know, a lot of things I'm not sure I'll ever forgive myself for, but, you know, you talk a lot and think a lot about, you know, who's going to be at your funeral, what are they going to say at your funeral, and what type of legacy you are actually leaving behind. And at the end of the day, I want my kids to be proud of me, and um, I want to make enough of a positive difference in this world that will carry on. And I've been over the last year fighting every single day to do just that, and we're going to keep doing it until my last day. And I think for me, that's all I care about. You know, I don't need to leave my kids with millions of dollars. I want to leave them with memories, and I want to leave them with viable businesses that they can take over if they want to work hard, and they're going to inherit a lot of shoulder mounts, you know. But I want them to know that I did good by people, and that I helped people, and that we inspired other people to do so as well. So, you know, all I think about every day now is just making my family proud, you know, and doing the right thing by others, and giving back. So really, I don't know what more you could want, you know, when you go than that. So
Yeah, no, good answers, man. I appreciate you sharing that, and diving into your personal there a bit. The last thing I just wanted to know is, where can people join this journey? How can they follow you, and kind of make sure whenever you're making that next big announcement that they got their finger on the pulse? So give us your
yeah,
socials. Where is the best place to follow this journey?
yeah. So right now it's just the Other Side Ventures. You can look up on Instagram and Facebook, and then Will Alt. I'm on Instagram and Facebook as well. You can look me up there. If y'all know of anybody who is going through a rough time, needs some help, let's try to help them out. Let's try to get them on a trip. If you want to be a part of taking a veteran or youth or somebody in need on a trip, I won't take your money, but I'll take you on a trip, and you can see what it feels like firsthand, to be a part of something like this. And you know, as I move forward into this, that's one thing that I think will change more lives than anything else. And I think we'll get more people on board with helping. You know, you can donate $1,000 and know that it went to a good cause, and then you're like, okay, yep, I did my good deed. I'm good. But actually experiencing the change and the heartfelt love through one of these hunts, outdoor adventures, will change somebody forever. And I know that 100% with all my heart. So, you know, if y'all want to be a part of what we're doing, and go on a hunt with a veteran, and see the changes and the difference that you can make in someone's life, let me know, and we'll set it up, and you can go along, and you can be a part of it, and you can witness that change, you know. So we haven't released any of our main platforms yet. We got to make sure they're perfect. It's something
Sure.
that I've had a vision for quite some time now, and we got to make sure the name is right, and we got to, you know, we are going to go to network television, whichever platform we decide to go with. You know, we want to make sure that we're able to really show our hearts and our views, and not have to adhere to somebody else's beliefs, you
Right.
know. And same thing with sponsors. I haven't taken any sponsors just because, you know, I'm not doing it for the money. This has nothing to do with that. You know, I think that eventually here we will start taking sponsors for sure, so we can impact and help more people. But
Yeah. Yeah.
um, yeah, we'll get back with you, and when we release everything. And but as of right now, just go to our social media, and like I say, message me if you want to go on a trip and be part of helping somebody and changing someone's life. It's quite fulfilling. So you can always reach out to me.
Wonderful. Well, I know you've done just that. I've seen it on the videos. I've seen it on your posts. Definitely bring some friends along, and everyone join in. Check this out. There's some wonderful adventures to come, wonderful people to help. And I just want to say thank you again, Will, for all that you're doing and all you're giving back. It's a wonderful thing all together. And I definitely appreciate you. And I thank you for coming and joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I sure appreciate it, bud.
Cheers, man. We'll talk soon, man. Can't wait.
Thank you,
All right. Take care.
brother.